Hello, everyone. The vacuum of space is very dangerous. Astronauts are only safe in a spaceship and on the Earth. If astronauts want to make a spacewalk, then engineers have to carefully design the system and the equipment to still make the spacewalk a safe endeavor. And it's very similar to tokens, actually. Tokens are only safe in their own environment on a blockchain. If tokens want to take a bridge and fly from one blockchain to another blockchain, then they leave their safe space and go to a hazardous environment between the blockchains where hackers have the chance to take them and steal them. So again, engineers need to carefully design a system in order to have a secure bridge where tokens stay unharmed. We built a bridge from Stellar to Polkadot, and for that reason we call this bridge Spacewalk. Hello, I'm Thorsten, I'm the CTO of Pendulum, and Pendulum is the company behind Spacewalk. Oh, you didn't see the slide, okay. So, first let me show you the connection of Pendulum with Polkadot. Polkadot, as you might know, is a network itself of blockchains. So, network of blockchains, and these blockchains are called parachains. Pendulum is one of those parachains. We're not live yet. We will go live at the beginning of next year. And we have a lot of experience building on Stellar because the company, our company that initiated Pendulum is called Satoshi Pay. And Satoshi Pay has been building on Stellar, has been building payment solutions on Stellar for over 5 years. And we also operate 3 of the Tier 1 validator nodes on Stellar. You might know that the Tier 1 validator nodes are the nodes in the Stellar network that enjoy the highest amount of trust. You might know that parachains on Polkadot each of them has a special purpose. They're not general purpose blockchains, but they have special purposes. And our special purpose or our mission is to connect fiat networks to the DeFi ecosystem. That means that our goal is to become the center hub for stablecoins, forex markets, and DeFi applications on Polkadot. Now let me show you the big picture. Spacewalk is a bridge between Stellar and Pendulum. But since Pendulum is a part of Polkadot, it is automatically connected with all the other parachains on Polkadot through bridges that are built into the system, very secure bridges. So that means that Spacewalk actually allows free token transfer from Stellar to all of Polkadot. Spacewalk itself is designed as a pallet. A pallet is a component that you can plug into a parachain on Polkadot because they are built with a system called Substrate, and in this system you have these pluggable components called pallets, and it's very easy to plug them into your own parachain. And a pallet is basically like a smart contract, but it's way more efficient, and for that reason also way more scalable, orders of magnitude actually. And scalability, of course, is very important for bridges. The more scalable the bridges are, usually also the lower the fees are. So the Spacewalk pallet is, of course, used in Pendulum in our own parachain, but you can also use it in all the other parachains on Polkadot. When we designed Spacewalk, we had 3 design goals in mind that are very important to us. First, Spacewalk is truly decentralized. What I mean is that there is a truly unlimited number of actors that can join the network and can keep it secure, and this happens in a permissionless manner. Second, Spacewalk is trust minimized. In Stellar, you need to trust human actors because human actors sign transactions for accounts. And in Spacewalk, you also have human actors, but those human actors are economically incentivized not to misbehave. And if they still misbehave, you as a Spacewalk user are guaranteed to get your money back. Third, Spacewalk is censorship resistant, which means that everyone can use Spacewalk and join the network in a permissionless manner. I want to point out that Spacewalk has been supported by a Web3 grant by the Web3 Foundation. Now let me show you the basics of how Spacewalk actually works. It's very similar to most bridge designs. So let's look at an example that you want to move a token from Stellar to Pendulum using Spacewalk. So what you do is that you take that token and send it to a particular account, a special account on Stellar, which is a locking account. So you lock that token on that account and you render it unusable for a certain amount of time. At the same time, you mint a token on the Pendulum side and send it to the target account. And through these 2 operations, you simulate a token transfer from one chain to another chain. And you can use a similar method to go back again. Now, one component that I want to put particular focus on is the Stellar Oracle that you see there. The Stellar Oracle is a component that conveys information from the Stellar side to the Pendulum side. And this component is very important. This is actually the weakest link in the whole system. There was just an attack on the Binance bridge last week where someone stole $600 million. And the reason was that there was a weakness in that very component. Not in the Stellar Oracle, but in the equivalent component of the Binance bridge. So these components are very crucial. That's why we designed the Stellar Oracle in a way that you can prove that it is at least as secure as the Stellar Consensus Protocol. That means that if you trust the Stellar Network, and you trust the Stellar Network that it doesn't lose your tokens, you can also trust our Stellar Oracle. And I want to say something in addition to this, how we actually decentralize. I said that we have true decentralization. Most bridges on Stellar, they use a scheme where the locking account, that you have one locking account where you can lock your tokens on the Stellar side, and you decentralize by introducing multiple signers for that account. So you have a co-signing scheme, and you have multiple signers, let's say a 5 out of 9 co-signing scheme, and you always need those five of these signers to sign a transaction, and this is decentralization. But it's very limited. First, there have been attacks on these kind of decentralizations. There was a bridge hack in April this year where on another bridge someone stole 600 euros because they used that co-signing scheme. And even if you use that with more signers in Stellar, you have a cap on at most 20 signers for one account in Stellar. And it's also really hard to change the signers. So it's not really decentralized. It's not permissionless. No one can easily join that network and leave it again because you need your own protocol to add signers and to remove signers. We decentralize through a different scheme. We introduce multiple locking accounts, actually an unlimited number of locking accounts. And those accounts are called vaults. And every vault is operated by maybe a number of actors that doesn't matter to us. But those actors are incentivized not to misbehave by being required to lock collateral on the Pendulum side. So on Pendulum, they need to lock collateral, and this pallet on the Pendulum side controls everything and makes sure that everything works smoothly. And now we get back to the Stellar Oracle, because only with the Stellar Oracle we can ensure that this works really as smooth as we need it to. Now, what's the secret sauce of the Stellar Oracle? Already said that it's provably as secure as the Stellar Consensus Protocol, and this works by actually tapping into the basis of this protocol. So we really use the particular features of the protocol, and I don't want to go too much into detail, but the Stellar network itself consists of validator nodes. It's a big network, but there is one subnetwork called the Tier 1 validator network. I already said that these are the nodes that enjoy the highest trust. And these nodes only change over time through governance, so it doesn't just change freely all the time, but the Tier 1 validators, they agree on whether they introduce or extend that network or whether they change components in that network. And the nodes in those network, they communicate with each other during the consensus mechanism and agree on the truth in the Stellar network. And now I can show that if you intercept those messages that they send around while they do the consensus, if you intercept those messages, you can decide what the truth is. So we can forward the messages from the Tier 1 validator. They're called externalized messages. We send them forward to Pendulum. And since all those messages are signed, Pendulum can provably decide what the truth is on the Stellar network. And we also take into account how the Tier 1 validator network is structured. You cannot see it here, but they are substructured called quorums, and those quorums together decide how they vote on certain truth. So that's what we use, and that's what we incorporate into the Pendulum side, this structure about the quorums and the Tier 1 validators. And since that only changes through governance, we will also change this. We mirror this governance on the Pendulum side, because Pendulum has a full democratic governance system included, which comes with Polkadot, and that's how we do this. Thanks a lot for your attention. And before we come to the questions, I would also like to show you some links so they can get involved and learn more about the project. Here's first there's a link tree here, then there's our Twitter account, so please follow our account and learn any news and updates about Pendulum and Spacewalk. And finally, if you want to get involved, of course, we are an open source project. We are an open project. We're happy for everyone to join the effort and work on this project together with us. Thanks a lot. And here are some more links so that you can connect with me.
Hi, thank
Hi.
you for the presentation.
Thank you.
In my understanding, the login address on Stellar Network, the keys of the login address are managed by the Oracle. Is that true or not?
The what is managed?
The keys that manage the login address on the Stellar Network are managed by the Oracle or not?
You talk about those vaults, the accounts that I call vaults, am I right?
Yeah.
These red dots,
Yeah.
they are not controlled by the Stellar Oracle. They are totally self-organized. Everyone can join, everyone can become a vault, but of course they have to register somewhere, and they register on the Pendulum side with this Spacewalk palette, which is a component of the Pendulum blockchain. The Stellar Oracle is totally independent of this. In fact, you can use the Stellar Oracle for every bridge for Stellar, not just for a Pendulum or Polkadot bridge, but every other bridge, let it be for Ethereum or everything else, all of them can use the Stellar Oracle.
So there is a mechanism that if I am one of the vaults and try to move the funds before the token that is on Pendulum is burned, I got some slashing on Stellar.
Exactly. It's an over-collateralized protocol. And what is very crucial that the tokens that are locked in the vault, they are of course different from the tokens that use as a collateral. So the collateral is a very stable coin. It is, for example, the native token of Polkadot, DOT, which is much more stable than maybe some other coins. And then in your vaults, you might have some other coins. Of course, these are the coins that you want to bridge over from Stellar, which is probably not Polkadot token. And then those coins, of course, can fluctuate in value, and we keep track of the difference in value over time. So it could be that at one point in time, the collateral is not enough anymore to cover the value of the tokens that are locked in the vault, maybe because their value raised. And then we have to prematurely tear down the vault and give back the money. So it's a complicated process, but at the end, the user definitely gets their money because arbitrageurs are allowed to come in and to resolve the collateral and give it back to the user. And since it's over-collateralized, that even the arbitrageur makes some money, but the end user gets their money back.
Hello. I think the topic of interoperability is going to be very prominent in the future with change, talking to each other. So I guess my question is, do you have plans to make more change for more bridges for other chains in addition to Polkadot, and why was Polkadot chosen?
So absolutely, but we have two projects. It's Spacewalk is the bridge, and our main project is Pendulum, which is a blockchain on Polkadot. So for that reason, of course, it's obvious that Polkadot is one side of our bridge. The other side for this instance is Stellar, because we have a lot of experience with Stellar on the one hand, and on the other hand, Stellar is very important for us. It has great support for stablecoins, fiat-backed stablecoins, which for us, as the central stablecoin hub on Polkadot is very important to connect to. But of course, we will extend that bridge, but so from Polkadot or from Pendulum, it will reach out to other blockchains, like to the Cosmos universe, for example. And Spacewalk itself is designed as a general token standard or bridge standard for Polkadot itself. So it's more standardized on the Polkadot side, but we start with Stellar because it's very native to us and it's very important to us. All right. Thank you.